Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm doing something a little bit more personal. I am going to be sharing my vegan/health story. So in my day-to-day life, I get a lot of people asking me why I went vegan, why would I do such a thing, and so I thought, why not make a video about it? Maybe it'll help people understand more if they hear the whole story. And yeah, so that's what I'm doing. I just want to put out a little disclaimer. This is my own experience with veganism. I'm not telling you what to do about it. I'm not telling you to change your diet. I'm not telling you to do anything. But a lot of people do share my experience with veganism, a plant-based diet. And yeah, you will find that with a vegan diet, your health can improve. So I hope that my story can kind of help some people, and maybe it can help them with the struggles that I had. So yeah, I have a lot of notes made because I'm a very scattered storyteller and I lose focus when I'm telling stories. And yeah, I just want to stay on track. So I'm going to be looking at a lot of notes the whole time. So if you're wondering if I'm looking at the phone, that's why. So let's get to it. So let's rewind back to the past. As a kid, I never really liked meat. I cannot say that it was something that I really craved and I remember really loving it. No. The only thing that I can remember is loving cold hot dogs, and generally this isn't kind of like meat tasting, it's just really salty, you know? So I cannot really say that I was a meat lover from the beginning. No, I just kind of grew into liking it, and especially like fish, I didn't start eating until my late teens. So I was never really like a flesh eating lover or whatever. But I was really big on like dairy, you know? As a kid, I really loved mac and cheese. So like, I cannot say that I really loved hard cheese or like cheese itself. I really liked the things made from cheese, like mac and cheese, cheese sandwiches, grilled cheese sandwiches, melted cheese sandwiches, grilled cheese sandwiches are really was one of my favorites. I really loved melted cheese, I guess you could say, but I was a really big fan of milk. I would have so much milk every day. I had 1 glass for sure every day with breakfast. And when I was like really young, like 5 and under, I was drinking a lot of it. That was like my go-to source of hydration. That was milk. And I think this really caused a lot of problems for me as a kid. I had a lot of problems with my sinuses and had a lot of problems with my ears. I had so many ear infections as a toddler and I had to go on so many antibiotics, and this really damaged my health, I think, as a kid. And then I was sick more often, and yeah, I would have problems breathing. I would snore very loudly as a kid. My parents still remember this, and they were very shocked to hear such noises from such a small little child. And these sinus problems carried on until I was older. I mean, I still remember like at 14, 15, my ears would get plugged all the time, and I had no idea why. I would try so many remedies like ear candles, so many drops, nothing helped. I even slept without a pillow for a year because I thought that my ears being smushed onto the pillow was causing the earwax to get like stuck, and then it would plug my ear. And this was a really hard time for me because I kind of almost felt like I'm going to go deaf or something, and it's really scary for a young person in that age. And yeah, I even had sinus problems until my late teens and early 20s. Always had sinus headaches, always had sinus infections. I always blamed it on the weather. I never made the connection at all, but how could I? Yeah, so let's just say that dairy was a staple for me and it wasn't helping me at all. I also suffered from, I cannot say I suffered, but I went through like an early puberty. No one in my family went as early as I did. I started puberty at 9. I mean, you could say even earlier. I had everything at 9. I had boobs, I had, I just had everything except my period, which I got when I was 12. And I think I would have gotten it earlier if I hadn't started skating. And yeah, it was very awkward to be asked out on dates at 10 years old. I had very bad skin as an early teen. I had a lot of pimples, a lot of acne. Nothing terrible, no cystic acne, nothing like this, but definitely nothing enjoyable. Then at 12, my mom kind of decided, she had read a lot of studies that like red meat is bad. So she said we're not gonna eat it anymore, and at the same time I stopped eating like fast food like McDonald's, Dunkin' Donuts, these kind of like favorite fast food places. I stopped drinking soda, I stopped eating like large amounts of candies, and I stopped eating like junk food in general. And we also started buying more organic foods. And as you can imagine, in that time, a lot of people like looked at you funny for buying organic food. They kind of thought you're like a hippie. Like, I cannot even imagine what kind of backlash we would have gotten if we had went vegan then. But I think that, if we had the, knowledge in that time about veganism, I think we would have 100% gone into it. So as time went on, I became a teenager. I became a normal teenager. I had mood swings. I was very moody. I was very sad all the time, I remember. And I kind of feel like a lot of the stuff that happened then kind of blacked out of my mind. But I don't really remember feeling like an energetic teenager or anything like full of life. I don't remember that at all. And after that, then around like 18, I stopped drinking milk. I don't even know why. Like, I don't know what the reason was. I think it was for calorie purposes. If I remember correctly, I had read somewhere like that milk has a lot of calories, and so I thought, oh, cannot drink that. And it really worried my parents, actually, because they thought I'm not gonna get enough calcium and these kind of things, but I was fine. And I really do think that this helped a lot with my health. I stopped having like my ears being plugged all the time. I remember the last time my ears were plugged was, I think it's 17. Maybe once or twice after that, but definitely not at the extent that I used to have it. So I cut out milk. Then came a time, I guess I was around 19. My parents were working more, and I remember I was making dinner more. Before, I would make dinner as well, but simple things like pasta with tomato sauce or some kind of salad, But now I kind of had to make everything, and I had to start cooking meat and eggs and things like this. And I just remember I was so like grossed out about it. Like, I just remember I couldn't touch the raw meat. It was really hard for me, and after I would touch it and put it into the pan or wherever, I would wash my hands obsessively. I would wash everything because I was so grossed out. And same with like eggs. Like, I hated getting the raw egg on my fingers or anything, and I like imagine how it's getting under my like nails and it'll stay there. Like, I was really crazy about it. But I kind of think that this was telling me that there's something repulsive about meat and eggs to me. And I know this isn't the same experience for everyone, but I think this was kind of like a clue that if it disgusts me so much, why am I eating it, But at that time, I thought I have to eat it. But even if I knew that, I just started to make like less meals with meat and eggs, and I just started adding tofu to everything. And basically we would just have like meat once a week, maybe not even. And I don't remember feeling bad or anything, and I was enjoying it very, very much. And I think when I look back at it now, I kind of see that this is a clue that I should have made some kind of change, But, I was so, hypnotized by the media that I need meat, dairy, and eggs for my health to survive. Just kind of brush it off your shoulder and don't think about it because everybody's eating meat. And you know, in my whole lifetime, I only had one vegetarian friend, and she kind of didn't tell, like, I never really knew why she went vegetarian in a sense, you know? She was just vegetarian. And that was that, and nobody else was vegetarian or vegan, so I was like, why should I do that? You know, it didn't seem normal in those times. And then came a time, I was 20, and I was starting to be like more and more aware of my weight. I was never heavy, never ever. I was always going from 50 to 52, 52 to 50. It always depended, you know, it was never really like an issue for me, but some reason it started becoming one. And you know, I think that being in figure skating didn't help because of course it gets to you that you think maybe if I lose weight, I'm gonna jump better, it's gonna be lighter, it's gonna be easier. So, and once you start losing weight, you know, people start saying like, wow, you look great, did you lose weight? And you feel happy about it. And I think this kind of like feeds the high of it. Maybe you don't actually feel good, but you're like on this high that you like look so good, or everybody's complimenting you, and yeah. So I started to like, I never had like an eating disorder, never. I never had these kind of problems, but I did start to count calories, I started to restrict more, and yeah, I was just not getting enough nutrients, I wasn't getting enough calories for such an active person that I was, and it really affected my health. I was about 52 probably, and I remember getting down to 47.8 kilos. So that's like 4 to 5 kilos, and that's a lot of weight, you know, for such a small person who's already an athlete and already at a good weight. And I lost my period, and I lost it for 6 months. And I really worried my parents. They were going crazy with me, and I assured them that I'm totally fine. This is just some kind of phase, you know, it'll come back, and you know, blah, blah, blah. And I got it back in the summer of me being 20. And yeah, it didn't help my skating at all. Like, I had no power, I had no energy. When I look back, I just feel like I was a big blah, you know? I don't remember being like a vibrant 20-year-old then, you know? And it only lasted a year. I started like eating normal again, I think a year after that, and I went back to my 52 kilos. And I actually enjoyed it. I was really happy about it. My boobs got like way bigger, and that was like really fun for a while. But then they went back to like a normal size. Maybe it was like a hormonal issue anyways. I really don't know, but it was fun in that time. And anyways, when I lost the weight, I didn't lose it in the places that I wanted to lose it. You know, I lost it in my breasts, and I lost it in my stomach. And for me, like I've always had like insecurities about my legs and my like butt, and it's actually something I cannot do anything about because it's just my body type. I've had this body type since I'm born, basically, you know? And yeah, so I thought when I start restricting my calories, I'm gonna lose weight there. And of course, I lost a little bit of the weight there, but not really. And so for me, in the end, it was just like not even worth it because I knew I couldn't like go more. Like, I was not ready to be miserable for the sake of having skinnier legs. Like, it was just not a possibility for me. So yeah, it lasted a year, and I'm glad it didn't go further or anything, but yeah, my parents were very, very relieved that I was gaining weight, and everybody was happy. I was happy, everybody was happy. But I think like a year later, I was how old? I was 21, and my doctor kind of notified me and also my mom that we were low on iron. And In Switzerland, I really don't know how the like numbering is. Maybe it's different from America, but they said the normal, like average, is like 30 and up. And mine was 20, so actually it shouldn't be like too worrying. But this made him think that I needed 2 infusions. And so I got the infusions. And let's say it was not a fun experience after that. I was promised that I'm gonna feel much more energized, that I'm gonna feel great, and I didn't feel any of those things. The first week of those iron infusions, I thought I'm dying. Like literally, I've never felt such fatigue in my life. I was so tired. I couldn't get up. I needed to sit down right away. I was dizzy. I just felt like I needed to sleep all day. And it wasn't like the normal thing, like yeah, sometimes you're tired. No, it wasn't this. And any kind of like movement I made, it like made me out of breath, anything. And my heart would pound so much. And I guess I would think I'm going crazy, but my mom, she also got 2 infusions at the same time and felt exactly the same as I did. And in that time, I just became really worried that my iron is gonna go low again. So I started eating more things with iron. I actually asked my doctor if I should eat more spinach, and he told me that you're not gonna get any iron from spinach. It doesn't absorb into the body well. You need to eat a blood sausage and some orange juice. Yeah, that's what he told me. And I was like, well, maybe not. So I started eating more meat and eggs and everything, you know. I just started eating more things with iron. I started eating liver. I never ate liver in my life. And it's the most disgusting, most repulsive thing. Even if I smell it, I feel like throwing up. So it was really not a fun experience. And I really felt the effects from all this. I started to get insomnia. I couldn't fall asleep till 5 in the morning. Mainly because I was afraid to go to sleep. I got anxiety for the first time in my life, and I didn't know what it was, but thankfully, well, not thankfully, but my mom was going through the same things as I was, so we kind of went through it together. But I had never suffered from anxiety, and in that time, I was not educated in it, and I didn't understand it, and I even laughed at people who had anxiety. I was like, oh, you're just, you know, you're not strong enough, like get over it, you know. But then I got it, so kind of karma on me. Yeah, so basically you're just scared for no reason. There's no reason to it. You're just scared. You're scared to die. It's a really kind of an unexplainable feeling, but it feels horrible. And so most of the time I couldn't fall asleep because I was scared I'm gonna die in the night. And I would just stay up watching Friends until I got so exhausted and just finally dozed off. Then in the morning, I just couldn't wake up. Like my eyes hurt so bad. I would just lay, I don't even remember. I just couldn't get up. You know, I felt horrible every morning. And actually when you're morning, you should feel rested, but I didn't. I started to feel really depressed about this situation that I was in. I also didn't feel good. I felt very tired throughout the day, and towards the night I would kind of feel a little bit normal. I had this strange feeling every day that I'm hungry and I'm hungover. Like I feel like my blood sugar was just all over the place. And also my vision kind of deteriorated from this. I had to get like contacts because of this. It didn't really help that much, but it did make me feel a little bit better, that I could see clearer. I still have the same like -1 blah blah blah, but I just don't feel exhausted, so I don't feel like my vision is bad anymore. I don't know if that makes sense. I was just so tired that everything kind of seemed blurry, like I was in a fog, you know what I mean? And I think this was definitely due to so much like animal products and not enough like whole foods, you know? I just wasn't getting the nutrients that I needed, and I was just getting protein, and blah. It was horrible. And I think around after 9 months, I started to feel better because I started to cut the meat products more and more, because I generally just didn't like it. When I was eating all these meats and dairy and, you know, eggs, I didn't like it, you know? I cannot say that these were my favorite foods. So even though I was eating it all the time, I wasn't enjoying it to the fullest, like, you know, a lot of other meat lovers. And so I was happy to just kind of cut it down a little bit. And after 9 months, I felt sort of back to normal, but you never go back to feeling normal after such an experience, you know? You become so much more aware of how you feel, and it kind of becomes an obsession that every little thing, like the way your heart is beating, are you having a heart attack, you know? And I never had this before, and my anxiety still continued sometimes. And I got rid of caffeine, which helped a lot. Like, I'm not saying anything bad about caffeine, but for me it really helped, and it still helps me today to avoid caffeine. But that wasn't the main problem. Do you know what I mean? I thought it's gluten, I thought it's caffeine, I thought it's so many things that I cut out, but I didn't know what it really is. And then I think around 3 years ago, maybe 4, no, I was 22, I started to question, you know, eating meat. I started to question, is it really healthy? Do humans really need to eat meat to survive? And I had this ex-boyfriend who told me, yeah, I could get behind this, but where are you gonna get your B12? You know, you'd have to take a vitamin. And this kind of made me think, oh yeah, you know, maybe it's not like perfect diet. So I kind of just brushed it off my shoulder again, and but I was still really interested in nutrition and things like that, and so I just continued to learn, and I'm so happy that I did, because 2 years ago I decided to become a vegetarian. But I still wasn't educated fully, and I don't think it made me feel better, because I still wasn't eating right. Instead of like eating meat, I was overdoing it with the cheese and eggs and things like that. So I don't actually know why I did it. I think I did it because I just don't like the taste of meat, and it just kind of grosses me out. And I remember, like, I think I went vegetarian 2 years ago in the summer. And I remember in Christmas time, we went to Czech, me and my parents, and we went to visit some family friends, and they made us like beef. And not only that, they made like a soup with like liver meatballs. And I remember, like, they didn't know we were vegetarian, me and my mom. So they couldn't have known that we're not gonna eat it. And I remember we felt so bad that we like didn't say anything, and we just ate it, and it was so bad. Ugh, so gross. But yeah, and I didn't feel very good. It was very hard to digest afterwards. And I remember after this trip, I was just like, never again, never ever again. And in this time as well, I started discovering some vegan YouTubers like Banana Blondie, okay, I cannot remember who else, but Banana Blondie was definitely like a major YouTuber I was watching, and I was really inspired by how she was vegan and how cool she was and how amazing, blah, blah, blah. And she just kind of like opened my mind to the discussion of veganism. And so I started looking more into it, and YouTube really helped me a lot to like discover these things. And I remember when we came back from Czech after that Christmas, I just decided, I'm like, you know, I just cannot eat meat ever again. No fish, no meat. And I started looking more into it. And the turning point for me was, I think it was in April. So yeah, it was like 1.5 years ago. And I remember in April, I I just decided no more because I had seen a video about the dairy industry and like what it does to the cows and like what it does to your body. So it was kind of like a light bulb moment, ethically and for my health. I just couldn't imagine the pain that this cow was going through, and at the same time what I'm doing to my body. Like, this is going into my body and doing all these things. Like, that's gross. And at first, like, my parents were kind of not into the idea of going vegan, but my dad actually had already given up dairy for his health, and I was really surprised that in the end he actually did give up meat, and both my parents ended up going vegan with me. So we are all vegan since May 2016. And I'm really happy that they are still vegan, and they're definitely gonna be vegan for the rest of their lives. They agree with everything that we have like read about, you know, they are on the same page as me, and I'm really thankful and grateful for this. And after this, I kind of didn't really like expect anything from it. I didn't expect to feel different because I kind of accepted that I'm gonna feel like this forever. Even though like I didn't feel as bad as after those iron infusions and overdoing it with the meat, I still felt kind of in a fog. I felt like I was hungover, and every day, like, I remember going to practice at noon and I was just like, I don't know if I can do this, you know? I feel really bad. And then at the same time, you're like, don't be such a baby. You don't feel bad, you're just being a baby. You know, your body doesn't like make up things just to like mess with you, you know? A lot of times when you don't feel good, you don't feel good, and there's a reason why you don't feel good. And at that time, I just didn't get it. So when I went vegan, I wasn't really expecting anything because I had just accepted that this is how I'm gonna feel forever. I'm gonna feel like crap for the rest of my life because that's just how it's gonna be. And I remember 2 weeks after, I already felt completely different. And I remember my mom telling me like, did you notice that you're not like laying on the couch all day? And I was like, you're right, I'm not. And it wasn't until I completely got rid of dairy, because I was at a point where I wasn't eating meat and things like that, but I was still eating cheese. And it wasn't until I got rid of the cheese that I completely felt different. And it's not the same experience for everybody. Like, it might take like months for you to feel something different. But for me, already after 2 weeks, I felt a difference. And I continue to feel different all the time. And I feel like a completely different person. I tell people that I feel like I'm 13 again, because that's the last time I feel like I was vibrant, that I was really energetic and I felt great. That's the last time I felt like that. And this is how I feel again. Like, I feel like I've gotten my life back in a sense, because all those years feeling bad, it really like took some years away from my life, I feel like. And I feel like I got a second chance to like live to the fullest, and I definitely don't plan on going back. There is nothing appealing to me about cheese, milk, eggs, butter, meat, fish, nothing. Some things that I really like to eat before, they repulse me now. And it's the best decision that I think I've made in my entire life. And I really wish that someone had told me about this. I wish someone had told me the facts, because I was always an open-minded person and I was always searching for a solution. And I think I would have gone into it way earlier than I did, because I'm just not that kind of person who is like tied down to certain foods or certain things. Like, I can get rid of things and move on with my life. Like, I was never like, oh, but bacon, you know, never was like that. I mean, it was a sad, you know, experience to give up melted cheese, but I was able to find some really good vegan cheeses and use that for my Mexican dishes. And I cannot say that I look back and miss things, you know? And I know this is not the same experience for many people, because a lot of people are meat lovers, cheese lovers, you name it. So this is just my experience, and I know it's definitely harder for some, but for me, it was a really easy transition. And I think the only thing that I find difficult is that kind of people are not really accepting, or they're kind of offended when you kind of put out the facts and things like this, or you know, that there aren't so many like options when you're traveling as a vegan. But these are kind of like, would I rather have more convenience in my life and kind of hurt my health at the same time, or would I want a little bit of inconvenience and thrive? So that was kind of my decision for this. And yeah, so that's basically the story. I think I'm gonna be doing a lot of editing to cut this down. And yeah, maybe I will come out with some videos on how I went vegan and the benefits that I experienced from veganism. And yeah, I definitely plan on making more videos, because my goal is to kind of help anyone who is open-minded to the vegan lifestyle and is open-minded to making a change, and maybe it can help them. Maybe it can even save their life, you know? And again, I don't want to say that like veganism cures everything, it's the magic thing of this world, but I definitely do think that your health can be improved. Definitely, definitely. And yeah, so I think I'm gonna wrap this up. I love you guys, and I hope you guys love this video, and I hope the lighting wasn't too bad. I think I'm gonna have to lighten this up. The sun went down really fast, but yeah. So yeah, that's about it, guys. And I think I've said that already a million times, so let me just end it finally. I will see you guys in my next video, and I love you guys. Bye!